The plasma cannon's whine pierced the thin atmosphere as Alton dove behind the crystalline outcropping. Ancient mineral formations, exploding in bursts of cyan fire around him. The Jacari patrol ship circled overhead like a predatory bird, its engines casting shifting shadows across the excavation site. Dust and fragments rained down as another volley struck the archaeological dig where he'd been working moments before. His scanner chirped urgently in his hand, its display still showing the impossible readings that had drawn him to this desolate moon in the first place. The energy signature beneath the surface defied everything he understood about stellar physics. Something ancient rested in the depths below, something that could reshape the balance of power across the galaxy. The patrol ship's searchlights swept across his hiding spot, probing, hunting. Alton pressed himself deeper into the shadows, feeling the rough crystal cut through his environmental suit. His breath fogged the inside of his helmet as adrenaline surged through his system. He'd come here following whispers of an archaeological find, not expecting to stumble into the discovery of a lifetime. 3 hours earlier, his deep-range scanner had detected artificial structures buried beneath 2 kilometers of sediment. The geometric patterns were too precise, too deliberate to be natural formation. But as he'd begun the initial excavation, the Jacari had arrived with military precision, suggesting they'd been monitoring his research frequencies. The ship's engines grew louder, closer. Alton risked a glance upward and saw the sleek hull passing overhead, its weapon systems tracking methodically across the terrain. These weren't random raiders. This was a coordinated operation, which meant someone else knew about the discovery. His comm unit crackled with static, then cleared to reveal a voice speaking in accented standard. The tone was distinctly feminine, melodic, yet carrying an undertone of lethal precision. "We know you're down there, human. You found something that doesn't belong to your species." Alton remained silent, checking his equipment. The portable fusion drill lay 20 meters away, still active and boring into the ancient structure below. Its steady pulse vibrated through the ground beneath him, a technological heartbeat marking time until discovery. The voice continued, smoother now, almost conversational, with an elegant cadence that somehow made its implicit threats more menacing. "My name is Zyxandra. I represent certain interests in this sector. You've uncovered something significant, haven't you? Something that predates current galactic civilization." Against his better judgment, Alton activated his transmitter. "How do you know what I've found?" "Because we've been searching for it for 3 centuries. The words hit him like physical force. 3 centuries meant this wasn't some random treasure hunt. This was a deliberate quest spanning generations, suggesting the buried artifact possessed capabilities beyond anything in current technology. The patrol ship settled onto the surface with mechanical precision, its landing thrusters kicking up clouds of fine debris. Alton watched as the boarding ramp descended, revealing a figure in advanced combat armor. Even at distance, the alien's movements carried a fluid grace that spoke of enhanced physiology and lethal training. Zyxandra descended the ramp alone, but Alton could see other shapes moving in the ship's shadowed interior. As she moved closer, Alton could see that her armor had been crafted to accommodate distinctly feminine features, its elegant lines suggesting both protection and agility. Her helmet's design incorporated flowing curves that somehow managed to appear both beautiful and threatening. The armor bore no insignia, no identification markers. Independent operator, then, or representing interests that preferred anonymity. "You're an archaeological specialist," Zyxandra called out, apparently scanning the excavation equipment scattered across the site. "Your reputation precedes you. 17 significant discoveries across 4 sectors, including the Meridian Cache incident." Alton's blood chilled. The Meridian Cache had been classified. Only 3 people knew the full details of that operation, and 2 of them were dead. How does she know about that? The alien continued approaching, weapon lowered but ready. Her movements were hypnotic in their precision, each step calculated for maximum efficiency while maintaining an almost predatory elegance. "We're not enemies, Alton. In fact, I believe we want the same thing. The difference is that I know what we're truly dealing with here." "What are we dealing with?" Alton called back, genuinely curious despite the circumstances. Zyxandra paused, helmet turning toward the drilling site where the fusion bore continued its relentless descent. "A weapon from the First War. Something the ancients built before they disappeared. Something that can control stellar phenomena on a scale that modern science barely comprehends." The drilling suddenly stopped. Alton's scanner erupted in alerts as energy readings spiked beyond measurable parameters. Deep beneath the surface, something had awakened. Both figures stood frozen as a low harmonic vibration began emanating from the excavation shaft. The sound climbed steadily in pitch and intensity, creating resonance frequencies that Alton could feel in his bones. Whatever lay buried was responding to their presence. Zyxandra's posture shifted, becoming more alert. The change in her stance revealed the deadly training beneath her elegant exterior. That's not supposed to happen. The readings suggested it was completely dormant. Before Alton could respond, new contacts appeared on his scanner. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace in the outer system, their signatures indicating heavy military configurations. Someone else had been monitoring the situation. Zyxandra's ship suddenly lifted off without warning, its automated systems apparently responding to the new arrivals. The alien cursed in her native language, a complex series of harmonic frequencies that somehow conveyed profound frustration while maintaining an almost musical quality. "My ship's abandoning me," she called out, apparently deciding that cooperation had become necessary. Corporate failsafe. If they detect military intervention, they're programmed to preserve themselves. Alton watched the patrol ship accelerate away from the moon's surface, leaving its former occupant stranded. The incoming military vessels were still minutes away, but their intent was becoming clear as targeting beams began sweeping the excavation site. "Who are they?" Alton asked. "Corporate security, most likely. The hegemony has been tracking archaeological discoveries related to ancient technology. They can't allow weapons of that magnitude to fall into independent hands." The harmonic vibration from below continued intensifying, and now visible energy discharges began crackling around the drilling shaft. Ancient systems were powering up after millennia of dormancy, responding to stimuli that their creators had programmed cons ago. Alton made a decision that would alter the course of events across multiple star systems. "We need to get down there before they arrive." Zyxandra's helmet turned toward him, sensors undoubtedly analyzing his biosignatures for deception. "You're willing to trust me?" "I'm willing to prevent the hegemony from acquiring ancient weapons technology. Whatever you are, you're not them." The alien's posture relaxed slightly, and for the first time, Alton caught a glimpse of the graceful confidence that lay beneath her warrior's exterior. A pragmatic perspective. "I can respect that." They moved toward the excavation site together, their combined expertise becoming essential as the situation escalated beyond either of their individual capabilities. Alton's archaeological knowledge would be crucial for safely accessing the ancient systems, while Zeixandra's military training might prove vital for survival. The drill shaft descended into crystalline formations that grew more complex as they penetrated deeper layers. Emergency lighting revealed geometric patterns carved into the tunnel walls, symbols that predated known galactic languages by thousands of years. The harmonic vibrations were stronger here, creating sympathetic resonances in their equipment. Alton ran his scanner along the carved symbols, trying to decipher their meaning. These aren't random decorations. They're some kind of operational interface. The entire structure is designed to respond to specific harmonic frequencies. Above them, the approaching military vessels had begun deploying scanner drones, their invasive beams probing every meter of the moon's surface. Time was running out before the excavation site would be discovered and secured. Zeixandra examined the symbols with different instruments, her alien physiology apparently giving her unique interpretative advantages. When she removed her helmet to get better sensor readings, Alton was struck by her appearance. Her features were undeniably beautiful by any species standards, with high cheekbones and luminous eyes that seemed to shift color in the tunnel's emergency lighting. But there was something predatory in her gaze, a calculating intelligence that suggested she could kill with the same elegance she displayed in movement. In my culture's historical records, there are references to weapons that could trigger stellar instabilities. Solar flares, coronal mass ejections, even induced stellar collapse in extreme cases. Alton paused his scanning. You're talking about the ability to weaponize entire star systems. Exactly. Imagine the strategic implications. A single device that could threaten every inhabited system in a sector, rendering conventional military forces obsolete. They reached the bottom of the shaft, where the drilling had breached into a vast underground chamber. Emergency lighting revealed smooth metallic surfaces that seemed to absorb and reflect illumination in impossible patterns. The architecture defied conventional understanding of engineering principles. The chamber's center held a raised platform supporting a crystalline structure that pulsed with internal energy. Symbols similar to those in the tunnel covered every surface, their carved lines filled with a substance that glowed with soft bioluminescence. "This is it," Alton whispered, his archaeological instincts recognizing the significance of the discovery. A fully preserved ancient installation, possibly the only one that's remained operational. Zeixandra approached the central platform carefully, her instruments detecting energy patterns that registered as both technological and organic in nature. Her movements remained fluid and purposeful, each step demonstrating the perfect balance between grace and lethal readiness that made her so dangerous. The ancients integrated biological and mechanical systems in ways our science still doesn't understand. Suddenly, the chamber's lighting changed. Hidden illumination sources activated throughout the walls, revealing the true scale of the installation. The room extended in all directions, far beyond their initial perception, with additional platforms and crystal formations visible in the distance. A new voice echoed through the chamber, speaking in a language neither of them recognized, but somehow conveyed meaning directly to their minds. "Seekers have come. The weapon song awaits those who would grasp stellar fire." Both explorers froze as the implications became clear. The installation wasn't just operational, it was actively communicating with them. Ancient artificial intelligence systems were evaluating their presence, their intentions, their worthiness to access technologies that could reshape galactic civilization. Zyxandra's instruments detected massive energy buildups throughout the chamber. Her exotic features remained composed, but Alton could see the tactical awareness flickering in her luminous eyes as she processed the threat assessment. Whatever process had begun, it was accelerating beyond their ability to control or stop. The weapon was awakening. Above them, the hegemony forces had located the excavation site. Plasma drilling equipment began cutting through the surface, creating new access points that would allow military teams to reach the chamber within minutes. The race for control of ancient technology had entered its final phase. Alton moved toward the central crystal, his scanner detecting interface points that seemed designed for biological contact. The symbols were shifting now, rearranging themselves in patterns that suggested active computation. We have to make a choice. Either we find a way to control this, or we ensure it can't be used by anyone. Zyxandra nodded grimly, understanding the implications. Her beautiful features hardened into an expression of deadly resolve. Better to destroy it than let the hegemony add stellar weapons to their arsenal. But as Alton reached toward the interface, the chamber's harmonic vibrations suddenly shifted frequency. The crystalline structures throughout the installation began resonating in perfect harmony, creating a sound that bypassed their ears and spoke directly to their nervous systems. New images filled their minds, visions of stellar mechanics and gravitational manipulation that revealed the weapon's true capabilities. It wasn't designed to destroy stars, but to move them, to reshape stellar geography on a galactic scale, relocating entire systems to strategic positions. The tactical implications were staggering. Whoever controlled this technology could reorganize the galaxy itself, bringing resources together or separating enemy territories by cosmic distances. It represented power beyond military conquest, the ability to rewrite the fundamental geography of interstellar civilization. The hegemony drilling sounds grew louder as their equipment breached deeper into the excavation shaft. Voices echoed down from above, military communications coordinating the assault on the ancient chamber. Vexther's expression hardened beneath his helmet. I can't let them have this. My people have suffered enough under hegemony expansion. This technology in their hands would make resistance impossible. Alton understood the aliens' position, but archaeological responsibility demanded a different approach. There might be other options. Ancient technology often includes safeguards, ways to ensure it's only used responsibly. The central crystal pulsed brighter, and suddenly both of them could perceive additional interface points throughout the chamber. The installation wasn't designed for single-user operation. It required cooperation between multiple operators, each providing different types of input to activate its systems. As if responding to this realization, the ancient AI spoke again. Two aspects of purpose have gathered. One seeks knowledge, one seeks protection. Both are required for the weapon song to find voice. The implications crystallized with terrifying clarity. Neither of them could activate the installation alone. But working together, they could access capabilities that would fundamentally alter the balance of power across known space. Hegemony forces reached the bottom of the drill shaft, their equipment detecting the chamber's energy signatures. Military voices grew closer as assault teams prepared to breach the installation's entrance. The moment of decision had arrived. Alton and Zyxandra could attempt to activate ancient technology beyond their understanding, or they could try to prevent anyone from accessing it. Either choice would have consequences spanning star systems and affecting billions of lives. Alton placed his hand on the nearest interface point, feeling neural connections establishing themselves between his consciousness and systems that predated human civilization. Zyxandra simultaneously activated another interface, her alien physiology providing different but complementary access to the installation's controls. The chamber exploded with activity as ancient systems fully awakened for the first time in millennia. Energy patterns cascaded through crystalline networks that extended far beyond the immediate chamber, reaching toward the moon's surface and beyond. The installation wasn't limited to this single location, but was part of a vast network spanning the entire star system. Through their neural connections, both operators could perceive the weapon's true scope. Gravitational manipulation systems extended throughout nearby space, capable of influencing stellar mechanics across multiple systems. The power to relocate stars was real, operational, and now under their direct control. But accessing the systems had also triggered automatic defense protocols. The installation began sealing itself, preparing to repel the approaching military forces through means that defied conventional understanding. Energy barriers materialized across access points, while gravity fluctuations created spatial distortions that would disorient intruders. The hegemony assault teams found themselves trapped in passages that had suddenly become maze-like, with corridors leading in directions that violated three-dimensional geometry. Ancient defensive systems were isolating the chamber from external threats, while allowing its new operators time to master their controls. Through the neural interface, Alton could perceive strategic options that spanned galactic distances. The weapon could relocate the hegemony's core systems to the galaxy's outer rim, effectively ending their expansion while preserving their populations. It could also rearrange resource-rich systems to create new centers of civilization in previously empty regions. Zyxandra's perceptions focused on more immediate tactical applications. Her warrior's mind, enhanced by the neural interface, could visualize precise strategic strikes. The installation could move entire fleets between star systems instantaneously, bypassing conventional space travel limitations. It could also create gravitational barriers that would make certain regions of space inaccessible to hostile forces. But the ancient AI continued providing guidance, its communications revealing crucial limitations. The weapon song requires harmony between operators. Conflicting intentions will result in system failure and potentially catastrophic spatial distortions. The warning was clear. They had to agree on how to use the installation's capabilities, or risk unleashing gravitational chaos that could devastate multiple star systems. The power to reshape stellar geography came with responsibility that neither of them had anticipated. Alton found himself facing a choice that would define the rest of his life. Use ancient technology to prevent hegemony expansion, potentially altering the course of galactic civilization. Or find a way to preserve the installation for future study while preventing its immediate exploitation. The neural interface allowed him to perceive Zyxandra's thoughts and motivations with startling clarity. The alien genuinely sought to protect her people from corporate exploitation, but lacked the archaeological knowledge necessary to safely operate ancient systems. Their cooperation wasn't just tactically advantageous, it was essential for preventing catastrophic mistakes. Above them, the hegemony forces had brought heavy equipment to bear against the installation's defenses. Plasma cutters and gravitational disruptors were working to breach the ancient barriers, though progress remained slow against technology that operated on principles their science couldn't fully comprehend. Time was running out. The installation's defensive systems were powerful, but not infinite. Eventually, the military assault would overwhelm ancient safeguards and gain access to the chamber. When that happened, corporate interests would control stellar manipulation technology with no regard for its implications. Zyxendra's thoughts carried urgency and determination, filtered through the deadly precision that made her so formidable. We can relocate their entire battle fleet to empty space, strand them light years from any inhabited system. It would buy time for a proper response to their expansion. Alton's archaeological training rebelled against using ancient technology for contemporary conflicts, but his moral sense recognized the broader implications. If the hegemony gained control of stellar manipulation capabilities, they would dominate galactic civilization for centuries to come. The decision crystallized with sudden clarity. They would use the installation's power, but with surgical precision. Instead of relocating star systems or stranding fleets, they would demonstrate the technology's capabilities in a way that encouraged negotiation rather than continued military action. Through their combined neural interface, they began coordinating the weapon's activation. Ancient systems responded to their unified intention, gravitational manipulation fields, extending beyond the moon's surface to encompass the approaching hegemony battle group. Energy readings spiked beyond measurable parameters as the installation drew power from sources that seemed to tap directly into stellar mechanics. The moon itself began exhibiting unusual gravitational properties, creating spatial distortions that affected navigation systems throughout the star system. The hegemony assault teams found themselves suddenly weightless as localized gravity fields fluctuated in impossible patterns. Their equipment malfunctioned as fundamental forces became unreliable, demonstrating power that transcended conventional military capabilities. But the real demonstration occurred in orbit above the moon. The hegemony battle fleet discovered that their ships were no longer subject to normal gravitational influence. They could move in any direction with equal ease, but they could also find themselves suddenly pulled toward the star or flung toward interstellar space without warning. The message was unmistakable. Whoever controlled the ancient installation could manipulate the fundamental forces that governed space travel and stellar mechanics. Military superiority became irrelevant when basic physics could be selectively altered to neutralize any threat. Communications flooded through hegemony command channels as fleet commanders attempted to comprehend their situation. Their weapons remained functional, but their ability to maneuver and coordinate had been compromised by gravitational fields that changed without warning or apparent logic. Alton used the installation's communication systems to broadcast across all hegemony frequencies. This is a demonstration of ancient technology's capabilities. We have no intention of causing casualties, but we will not allow this installation to fall under corporate control. The response came immediately from the hegemony fleet commander. Who are you? What are your demands? We're archaeologists who have discovered technology that predates your civilization by millennia. Our only demand is that you withdraw your forces and allow proper scientific study of this installation. Through the neural interface, Zyxandra added her own communication, her voice carrying the unmistakable authority of someone accustomed to life and death decisions. My people will guarantee the installation's security during the research phase. Any attempt to seize ancient technology by force will result in its activation against your core systems. The threat carried credible weight given the demonstration they'd just witnessed. If gravitational manipulation could affect individual ships, it could certainly influence entire star systems. The strategic implications forced hegemony commanders to reconsider their approach, but corporate interests weren't easily deterred. New communications revealed that additional battle groups were already en route to the system, carrying specialized equipment designed to counter gravitational anomalies. The hegemony was prepared to escalate the conflict rather than abandon access to stellar manipulation technology. Alton realized that their demonstration had only bought temporary respite. Unless they found a permanent solution, the installation would eventually be overrun by forces willing to accept massive casualties in exchange for ancient weapons. The neural interface provided access to the installation's full capabilities, revealing options that neither operator had initially perceived. The weapon could do more than relocate stars or manipulate gravity. It could also access dimensional space, creating passages that bypassed conventional three-dimensional limitations. Through dimensional manipulation, they could relocate the entire installation to a different region of space, removing it from immediate corporate reach while preserving its capabilities for future study. The process would require enormous energy expenditure, but the installation's power systems were designed to tap directly into stellar mechanics. Zyxandra's thoughts carried excitement and hope, her beautiful features animated by the possibility of preserving the technology while protecting her people. We could move the entire complex to my people's home system. They would provide security while proper research proceeded under archaeological supervision. But Alton's training urged caution. Dimensional manipulation on that scale had never been attempted before. The risks were completely unknown, and failure could result in the installation's destruction or worse, the creation of gravitational anomalies that could affect multiple star systems. The ancient AI seemed to sense their debate. Relocation protocols exist within primary systems. Installation designed for mobility when preservation requires distance from threat sources. The revelation changed everything. The installation wasn't a fixed structure, but a mobile complex designed to retreat when necessary. Its current location was strategic, not permanent. The ancients had anticipated the need to preserve their technology from those who would misuse it. Activation of dimensional relocation required unanimous agreement between all neural interface operators. Both Alton and Zyxandra had to commit completely to the process, accepting personal responsibility for its consequences. The hegemony forces had managed to breach the installation's outer defenses. Military teams were advancing through passages that remained spatially distorted, but their progress was steady. Time for decision-making was running out. Alton felt the weight of archaeological responsibility. Moving an ancient installation would preserve it for study, but would also remove it from human space, potentially forever. The knowledge contained within these systems could advance human understanding of the universe by centuries. But leaving it here guaranteed that corporate interests would eventually control stellar manipulation technology. The hegemony's resources were vast, and their determination to acquire ancient weapons was absolute. Temporary resistance would only delay the inevitable. Zyxandra's cultural perspective provided different insights. Through the neural link, Alton could sense her people's philosophy emphasized preservation of knowledge for future generations, rather than immediate exploitation. They would guard the installation, while researchers from multiple species collaborated on understanding its systems. The decision required trust between individuals who had met only hours before. Alton had to believe that Zyxandra's people would honor their commitment to scientific research. Zyxandra had to trust that Alton's archaeological ethics would prevent weaponization of ancient technology. Through the neural interface, they shared memories and intentions with startling intimacy. Alton perceived Zyxandra's childhood among crystalline spires that reached toward distant stars, a civilization that had learned to value wisdom over conquest. Zyxandra experienced Alton's dedication to preserving knowledge and understanding the universe's mysteries. Their minds synchronized as they reached unanimous agreement. The installation would be relocated to preserve it from corporate exploitation, but with safeguards ensuring continued research and preventing weaponization. Ancient systems responded to their unified intention with overwhelming power. Energy patterns cascaded through crystalline networks as dimensional manipulation protocols activated for the first time in millennia. Space around the installation began exhibiting properties that defied conventional physics. The moon itself became a focus for forces that reached across dimensional boundaries. Gravitational fields intensified beyond measurable parameters, while spatial geometry became fluid, creating passages that led to regions of space light years distant. Hegemony forces found themselves suddenly cut off from the installation as dimensional barriers materialized around the ancient complex. Their equipment detected massive energy readings, but could no longer locate the source. The archaeological site had simply vanished from conventional three-dimensional space. Through their neural interface, Alton and Zyxandra guided the installation through dimensional pathways that bypassed normal space-time limitations. Ancient navigation systems provided coordinates for destinations that existed outside current star charts, regions where the complex could operate without interference. The process required enormous concentration as they balanced gravitational forces and maintained dimensional stability. One mistake could strand the installation in interdimensional space or create gravitational anomalies that would affect multiple star systems. But ancient engineering proved equal to the challenge. Safeguards activated automatically when stress levels approached dangerous parameters, ensuring that dimensional manipulation remained within stable operating ranges. The installation had been designed to survive relocation processes that would destroy lesser technology. Gradually, the dimensional passage stabilized around new coordinates. Space reformed around the installation as it emerged in an uninhabited star system far from hegemony territory. Ancient sensors detected no immediate threats, allowing defensive systems to return to standby status. Alton and Zyxandra found themselves in the same chamber, but its environment had changed subtly. Stellar radiation patterns indicated a different sun, while gravitational readings suggested different planetary configurations. They had successfully relocated the installation across galactic distances. Through the neural interface, they could perceive the installation's new environment. a young star system with developing planets that might support life in millennia to come. No current civilization to threaten, no corporate interests to exploit ancient technology for immediate gain. The ancient AI confirmed successful relocation while providing operational status reports. Installation secure in designated preservation coordinates. Research protocols may now proceed without external interference. But their success came with new responsibilities. They had become the installation's guardians, responsible for ensuring that its capabilities were used wisely. The power to reshape stellar geography remained accessible, but required their continued cooperation to activate. Zyxandra's people would provide security and support for long-term research operations. Human archaeologists would collaborate with alien specialists to unlock the installation's secrets. Together, they would study technology that could advance galactic civilization by centuries. The neural interface began withdrawing from their consciousness as immediate crisis passed into longer-term planning. Ancient systems recognized that the emergency was over, returning control to normal operational parameters. Alton felt the vast scope of the installation's capabilities fading from his direct perception, but knowledge of its potential remained. He understood now why the ancients had built such powerful safeguards into their technology. The responsibility that came with stellar manipulation was beyond any individual or even any single civilization. Zyxandra's thoughts carried satisfaction and hope, her deadly grace now tempered by the profound responsibility they shared. Her people would honor their commitment to protecting the installation while facilitating research that could benefit all galactic civilizations. Ancient technology would advance understanding rather than fuel conquest. But as they prepared to contact their respective peoples and begin organizing proper research operations, new signals appeared on the installation's long-range sensors. Ships were dropping out of hyperspace at the system's edge, their configurations indicating technologies beyond anything in current galactic databases. The ancient AI provided analysis that changed everything they thought they understood. Original builders return. Evaluation phase initiates. Alton and Zyxandra exchanged glances filled with awe and uncertainty. Their adventure was far from over. The ancients themselves were coming home, and the installation's true purpose was about to be revealed. The stars around them began singing in harmonies that spoke of powers and responsibilities they had barely begun to comprehend. The real test of their worthiness was just beginning.